Hello and welcome to week 13 in Statistics for Psychology here, and we are approaching the end. And I'm saying that because I have eliminated chapter 15. So here we are this week. We're doing chapter 13, one-way ANOVA. Next week, two-way ANOVA, pretty much the same thing. And then we're done. The rest of your effort really needs to focus on getting your special assignment, getting your proposal up and ready. So I'm going to be going through those this week. Try and get those discussions in. I'll try and get those responses in, start grading that. I'd really like to see that finish up pretty quickly, get through that. So I'll be paying special attention to those discussions this week. So here we are in chapter 13. I remember I deleted chapter 15. So there's just two more chapters. Took it out. And in the grade book, I just gave everybody a 100 on that one assignment. So we won't worry about that. The discussion, like we've been talking about the t-test, I'm having you look up articles that include the use of ANOVA. Now, almost everything that we've been doing has been comparing two things. You know, when we did correlations, it was like, does this correlate with that? When we did z-test, is it z-test? Yeah, when we did z-test, we're comparing, my score to a standard. And then we went to t-test, it's mine to the theoretical standard, that's the one factor, and then you got the two groups. They're either matched pairs or independent samples. You're still always two things being compared. And a lot of research is done that way. In fact, it really is fundamentally the base root of all we can do when we are doing most research within psychology. Now, we know that reality is a lot different than that, and sometimes you want to compare, let's say, we're looking at independent samples, you might want to compare a whole bunch of groups all at the same time. Like in class, I often talk about, what's the importance of slideshows in terms of learning. Like a professor has a slideshow, does that affect learning? And let's say we find out in a regular t-test where I have a class that gets a slideshow and one that doesn't, that we find out in that initial experiment that yes, indeed, it does help. I could then have another question and say, well, is it the same across all the majors? Or is it just psychology that benefits from this? Do other programs benefit from that? So at that point, how many programs are there at KV? There's like 30-something programs. So line workers, electricians, culinary, business, general education, nursing, OT, PT, all of those. I could look at all, and let's say I had a test, and I'd say, well, which one, is there a relationship there? But which of these various groups is significantly impacted by the presence of slideshows? Now, ultimately, we have to compare all of them on a one-to-one level. But the ANOVA allows us to compare them all at the same time to see if there's anything going on. What the ANOVA gives us is if there's at least one pair that is significantly different from another, the ANOVA will indicate that. If there's no pairs that are significantly different from each other, the ANOVA will be insignificant and we don't have to go any further. It's a time saver. So it's sort of the first peak. In fact, sometimes you'll see a study occurs in two phases. First, you have the ANOVA that they did to determine is it even worth looking at, and then the secondary study that looks at those pairs that ended up being significantly different from one another. So we start with the ANOVA, and the one-way ANOVA means there's one variable, the dependent variable, and multiple independent variables. Okay, we're going to see the two-way ANOVA is going to be, there's going to be more than that. So we have multiple independent variables, multiple groups, all being compared on a single dependent variable. Now, the independent variable, of course, is the group, just like in the independent samples t-test. So we conduct the ANOVA, and then if it indicates that it is indeed significant, then we have to go and do t-tests on all the different pairs. And that can sometimes be a lot. So in the example in the course book, there's just a few. But the example for the assignment, there's a lot. And you have to do all of those t-tests. If the ANOVA is significant, that means there's at least one of those pairs is significantly different from the other. And you have to do t-tests on each one of those. So those are called post hoc t-tests. They're after the study, after the initial study. I am, based on that information, saying there is something there. I'm going to go in after the fact and analyze that data at another level to do all those t-tests. So you're going to be doing independent samples t-tests again, but you're going to start out with the ANOVA to see if there's anything going on. So you follow the instructions that are in the course book. You put all the data there. You select all the tables. Do that. And it produces an F score. And that F score is another, like T-scores and Z-scores. It's another one. And it has a significance value to it that is produced by Excel. And then if it's significant, then off you go. Keep in mind that in significance, we're still looking for that 0.01 or 0.05 level of significance. Now, because ANOVA analyzes, like the t-test looked at comparing means. Look at what ANOVA means, analysis of variance. What it's comparing is the variability between different groups. And it's showing an indication that there's something that's going on. It's a mathematical way to quickly see if there's possibly something going on. And so I forgot where I was going with that. Anyway, you're going to put that information in to the I know what I was going. Sorry about that. We're looking for the 0.01, 0.05. When you look at, because it's looking at variance, sometimes you get very, very small probabilities. Now, the way that's going to appear, however, in Excel is if it's something like not only 0.01, but it's like 0.000015, it's going to put it as a negative factor. It'll be like it'll be to a power 1.057 to the minus 10 power. So you have to look closely. You might look at it quickly and it'll say 1.5. That'll be the significance level, and you'll be like, nope, that's not significant. But if you look over to the right and it has a little line and it has another like 10, that means it's that to the minus 10. So you move the decimal point in the negative direction 10 times. So clearly very significant. So you got to watch for those numbers. But large numbers will be turned into powers within Excel. So keep an eye on that. Sorry about the little brain thing there. Okay, so that's the assignment. There is the discussion, finding articles with ANOVAs in them, and then the one-way ANOVA where you're looking at doing post hoc t-test after you have concluded using the ANOVA that there is something going on. Hint, there is something going on. So otherwise, you wouldn't get the joy of doing all of those different t-tests. So your Excel file is going to have a lot of information on it. You're going to have a t-test for every single possible pairing of those groups, the sharks in this case. So, and please get started on the final assignment. I believe there's only one person that's making their way through that right now, and I need all of you to get started on that. That is going to be something that's needed quickly within the next class when we sign up for that. And please sign up for the next class. The next class after this is research methods. We have an online one. We have a face-to-face one. I don't care which one you take. Get into that class next semester. For many of you, that is graduation time. So make sure that you get into that class. So, I mean, it's only for you folks that you have to take this class before you take it. So you're going to be there together again. So everybody in this class is going to go over. Everybody in the face-to-face class is planning on going over. We'll see each other again next semester. So get started on that. So have a great week. We're at the tail end here. There's this assignment and then one more. And then we're all done with this class. And so end strong and then take your mental resources and focus on that proposal. The more you do on that proposal now, it affects your grade now, but it will make life way easier next semester if you don't have to do a whole lot of reworking of your proposal. So, have a great week, and I will see you later.